Hello, my name's Rob and welcome to Swift Slots. Now we all know you should be very careful about what you post online because you never know who's watching. Well, the other day I got a really nice email from Luke at slot32.de, and Luke runs a model slot car business in Germany along with all the other modelling peripheries to go with the slot cars. And he'd seen my Pendle slot Volvo 850 video, this one, and he'd seen my Golf Wheelbarrow video, this one. Direct links below. He'd seen those videos and he thought that I had something that I could offer him to further his business, to promote his products and also to promote my own channel. So we started a line of conversation. So after a few back and forth emails, Luke and I fleshed out roughly what he wanted, and within those emails he was explaining to me that he'd like me to paint a range of 1/24th scale BRM bodies so that he could promote his water slide decals that he's making. And I'm like, I'm up for that. 1/24th scale, definitely. BRM, definitely. What's not to like? Revo slots on steroids. Who doesn't like Revo slot? BRM is everything Revo slot is and even more. So I'm like, yes, definitely. Then he told me what cars he wanted me to paint. One of them was the Porsche 917K and the other one was the Ferrari. Well, I'm in. So I drink to that. So with all that done, what he said he wanted me to do was paint these bodies using his water slides on my channel so that he could use those bodies to promote extra cars through BRM to the world. So he wanted me to do all these videos using the products that he sells from slot32.de, which was great. So I said, okay then, well, I do have my own stuff, but he wanted me to use his own stuff, which is great. So he said, leave it with me. I'll send you some products. So he did. Here's one. And here's two. I'm going to drink to a pair of huge boxes. This one's 15 kilos and this one's 10 kilos. So here's to slot 32 and thank you, Luke. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these boxes unpacked in front of the camera here now and get you on my bench and whiz through everything that's in these boxes. And I warn you, there's a lot. So let's get down onto the floor and unpack them onto the table. Look at it. I am very, very, very grateful to you, Luke, for sending all this stuff to me. No one's ever sent me this much stuff. In fact, no one's ever sent me anything ever, to be honest with you. And I'm incredibly grateful for all this stuff. Now, I know that a lot of this stuff is going to be used to make the bodies in the videos for Luke, but he didn't have to send all of this stuff to do that. I would have done it with my own products, but I'm very, very grateful. So you guys watching this video, if you could send some love to Luke at slot32.de, just send him an email saying we've seen the video and thanks for supporting Rob. That would mean the world to me and to Luke, because it would just prove to Luke that there are people out there interested in what I do and will be interested in looking to see what Luke is doing going forwards. So if you could just send him a quick email just saying thank you, that would be awesome. So obviously there's a mind-bending amount of stuff here. And what I want to do is get you on my bench and show you each piece briefly, because there's a lot here. And then later on in other videos, we can go through it all bit by bit. I'm going to make some specific videos on all this stuff here There's some very specific videos that Luke wants me to make on certain products, like what's in this box, and other things and bits and bobs. And there'll be loads of other content coming in the future based on this product, and hopefully it'll be really enjoyable to watch. It won't be much different from what I'm already doing. It's going to be painting bodies, putting decals on, building up slot cars, all slot car related, all very relevant. But with Luke's help from slot32.de, it's going to make my life a lot easier going forwards with getting products in. And there are other rumours going around between Luke and I about other little things that are going on, which I'm sure that you'll be interested to watch in the weeks and months to come. So let's get you on my table and we'll go through all this stuff briefly and show you what toys I've got. Okay, so let's start with the great big cherry on the top. This absolutely beautiful BRM 1/24 scale Golf Porsche 917K. Absolutely stunning. This is by far my most favourite racing car of all time. And this BRM 1/24 scale car is the bee's knees as far as I'm concerned of slot cars. I can't think of a single slot car that's better than this one. This is by far my most favourite one, and this was a gift to me from Luke for helping him out and helping to promote his range of decals that are coming and anything else that I can help him do. And I am incredibly grateful for him to give this to me. But look at that. That's stunning. Absolutely stunning. Beautiful, beautiful car. So I will be doing a little review of this car later on in depth. And there are also some upgrades to add to this car and some little setup tips as well. So that'll all be coming later on in the videos. And like I said, that car's got some upgrades to it and some setting up parts. And this box contains an awful lot of those setup parts that I should be using to show that car and other BRM cars to be set up. There are a bewildering amount of parts in these bags, all to do with the 1/24 scale BRM cars. So you can imagine there's going to be a lot of content made from all this. It's just an amazing amount of stuff. As we know, the BRM range of cars are superb quality, and so are their spares. So we have all of these braids and the whole lot. So that's that box. We also have this box. Oh look, what have we got here? There's a Ferrari. So this is what will be the basis of a few videos later on. There'll be the Ferrari and the Porsche, and they will all be sprayed up in different colours with slot32.de's water slides over them to show all the different water slides that will be made from that particular company. And this is effectively the white kit that one of the white kits in fact, that I should be using to produce those bodies. So we've got the windshield. This isn't actually a white kit, this is just a kit of parts, but it is effectively what you would get if you were to buy a white kit. And they just go on and on and on. Beautiful wheels and all the other components needed to create a nice Ferrari. And in here we've got the chassis parts, which I will show you as well later on. We've got two different types of chassis in this box. We've got a standard chassis and a racing chassis, and they will all have explanation videos later on showing you all about these particular chassis, how to set them up, how to get the correct backlash, and generally how to set them up and get them running on your car. Just wanted to stop there for a moment and show you this. Look at that. I absolutely love BRM. They're beautiful cars. And then we have this box from Slotting Plus. Now these are the tools that I should be using to assemble the 1/24 scale cars, and these are the shims to make sure that you've got the correct end float on your axles. A couple of those, a tip, a rather nice tap set, M2, M2.5 and M3 I believe. Yes, we got the awesome wrench. Now this is a preloaded wrench, a torque wrench, so that you can't overdo the Allen keys. Really important tool, to be fair. Takes out all the guesswork of over torquing your nuts. So there's two of those. And we got some more spacers, and we have the Matus setup guides, which are really cool. So they got their inbuilt little feet, which is nice. And we have another tap and the all-important stickers. Everybody should give stickers with their stuff. Stickers are something that slot cars just don't have enough of. Everybody needs stickers. Stickers. And the BRM 1/24 scale boxes just keep on coming. Here we have lots more spacers and washers and screws. Lots more part boxes. Parts of the chassis. Some of the little body float spacers there to give the float between the two halves of the chassis. Plenty of those. We have the front axles. We have the bearings for the back axle and probably the front axle. We have the front axle holders. Plenty of those. We have an engine mount. We have a pair of very nice BRM motors. More parts boxes. And more of the little chassis float adjusters. And another 1/24 box. Now what do you think could be in here? Oh look, it's the beautiful Porsche 917. So this will form another part of another video where we're putting on another livery. So that is effectively the white kit. It's the whole body. We've got more chassis parts. Awesome rear tyres, look at that. More tyres, more tyres, more tyres. Set of foam back tyres. More tyres, more tyres. Wheel inserts. Wheels with inserts. Foam back tyres. Inserts. More wheels and inserts. Windscreen, interior. Another floating chassis with all the components to build it up, and the back end of another chassis and a spare rear wing. So onto this huge Pontiac Firebird box. Now why has he sent me this box? Well, the reason why is because Luke works very closely with BRM, and BRM made a range of chassis with a range of American muscle cars that fitted together as a unique combination. Now that range didn't go as far as Luke would have liked. So what he's going to do is he's going to make a Pontiac Firebird body that marries to a BRM chassis as another car in that original range. So he sent me this one. They're all based around these commercially available 1/24 scale kits, Revel in this case. So one of my jobs going forwards is to build this body and then put the body onto a properly made BRM chassis that accepts this exact body. So in the future you'll be able to buy a BRM chassis and this kit, marry the two together properly and be able to race it along with the other muscle cars in the range. So that's why I've got this car. It'll be part of the range of BRM cars that you'll be able to make yourself, and that's what this is for. So that'll be an interesting build all on its own. So Slot32.de sell a whole range of Harder and Steenbeck airbrushes and all the spares to go with them. Now up to this point I haven't actually used a Harder and Steenbeck airbrush, and Luke was very keen for me to try one. Now I do understand that they have a certain amount of advantages over the airbrush that I'm using right now. So he sent me over this beautiful Harder and Steenbeck Silverline. It's got quite a few nice little features that I can see straight away, and I think it's going to be an extremely nice airbrush to use. Now I will be doing a full review of this airbrush before I get started, so that's to come as well. Now, this is the 2-in-1, so we get the extra needle as well. We also get an extra cup. So as you can see, it's very, very nicely presented, and it's of the highest quality, I do know that. I just haven't used one yet, but I'm sure it'll be really good. So there's a review of that coming very soon. And to support that airbrush, wait for it, I've got all this. So there's a full set of seals there. There's a twin airbrush holder, which is extremely weighty. We've got it's the needle, the tip cleaner, that comes apart, and there's a spike in there, a half spike where you can clean the needle out. We've got another cup. We've got a lid for the cup. Now these are really nice to stop you from spilling your paint. The normal sets don't come with them. So we've got a cup there. We've got a blowback nozzle for blowing back for mixing and cleaning out your gun. We've got another single airbrush holder, which I will be reviewing as well. They're really good too. We have a replacement needle of the 0.6. So this will be really good for primers and some heavy metallics, the 0.6. And we have another needle here at 0.2. So this is a nice spare because 0.2 is incredibly fine. So that's a good thing to have. And then we have, there's another spare cup there. We have the lid for the small cup. And we have a spare nozzle and another seal set for the Silverline, and we have a spare for the airflow. And what else have we got in here? Right, so the rest of these packets here, that's for the other one. These packets here, oh, there's another piece for the, no, that's for the pens as well. So these inserts here are for these pens. Now what you do with these pens is you whack a load of paint inside there, give them a good shake up with the balls that are in there, and that shakes up the paint. Balls are escaping everywhere. It goes in there, and in the lid you've got your sprung loaded brush effectively. So these are spares to go with that. So these are for mixing up custom paints, and then you can draw great big lines across and so on and so forth. Not sure how much use this particular one will have with slot cars, but who knows? Who knows what's in the future? And we've got a whole different range of those. These are quite useful as well. They're very stiff, these tips, so you can get right on the top of a line, let's say a gutter line with some chrome paint, and then you can run your chrome paint along there. All sorts of little fine masking jobs. You've got a small one there. That looks really cool, actually. It's very, very fine. That looks really good, actually. And then we've got all the different nozzles and filters. Oh, these again for the airbrush. So they're the springs for the air pressure side. And we've got chisel tips for the paint pens. There's another one there, a nice small one. Oh, these are the tips. Where did I see those now? There were some very fine. Here we are. So these go in here for those ones. And obviously I'm going to need an airline. So here's a Harder and Steenbeck airline with a quick fit adapter on it, ready to go. And we have the Harder and Steenbeck brochure, which is actually going to be very useful to refer back to for spare parts and so on and so forth. Again, I've not actually got a Harder and Steenbeck airbrush, so familiarising myself with the range will be quite useful. So that's a nice thing to have. And then we move on to all the paints. Now, I'm not actually familiar with Schminker paints, so this will be a learning curve for me. So what Luke would like me to do is work out a mixing ratio, like I did with the Volvo, to find out what colours work mixed together to create certain liveries, like the pink pig or the Porsche 917K light blue or the orange and so on. So he's sent me all of these paints to try and work out a paint code, a mix ratio for all the different paints, for all the different liveries of the cars. So I've got an absolutely overwhelming range of paints from Schminke. And these are extremely good because they have these droppers pre-built into the jar. Now that is an absolute godsend. When you're mixing up paint, it's very difficult to know how many drops or how much paint to use per colour. And I've often used the pipettes, but you get paint stuck inside the pipette and all sorts of other problems, and it's just a problem. So to have the actual dropper in the bottle with the colour already in it that you can just simply drip out is absolutely fantastic. That really is a huge advantage over these Schminke paints that I've not seen from any other manufacturer as yet. So that is going to make my life incredibly easy in terms of mixing up the paint. So they should be really, really helpful. And we have a second box. Now in here we have a couple of jars, empty jars that they sell, so you can mix up your own custom colours. There's 3 of those in there. So that will be very, very useful to have. And we've got more colours here. And we have, I'm not quite sure what this is yet. Oh, transparent primer apparently. So that'll be quite useful. We've got all sorts of colours here. This looks a very, very nice copper kind of metallic. Look at that. That's going to be nice. So, there's that one. Aero metallic, bright maroon apparently. So there's some really nice colours in here. So that's that one. And we have another one. There we are. So we have more mixing bottles and more paints. So total cover. So possibly this is a stronger pigment than the others. Again, still with the dripper bottle. It's going to make life so much easier with that dripper, I can tell you. So what can we find in here? Well, that's something vaguely close to... I was looking to see if I could find a light blue for Gulf colours straight at the back, but we're quite a long way from that. So just thought it would be fun to try and find a Gulf colours set, but we'll have to mix it. So that's that lot. And then we got this box. Now this is a really interesting box. Now these paint pens are actually really, really useful. I do use these for doing my slot cars. You may have seen them in the past. So we've got lots of different colours here. We've got a grey, black, white. It looks like a silver there perhaps. We've got a gold, a blue, a red, a nice yellowy orange there. Got another grey and a blue. So they're pretty useful. They'll get used. And then we have an alternative Tamiya tape. Now I'll have to tread carefully with this because I'm a huge fan of Tamiya masking tape. In my opinion, it is the best modelling tape that money can buy. Now I also understand that Mr. Hobby is also a fantastic brand. Very, very, very high quality. I love the Mr. Hobby paints that I'm using at the moment, and I know that Mr. Hobby is a great brand. So I suspect that this tape is probably as good as the Tamiya tape. I wouldn't say better, it's probably equally as good. So that'll be interesting. I'll tread carefully using this, but if it is good, I'll let you know, and I'll tell you if it's a good alternative to the Tamiya. Or if you can't get Tamiya, you know, and you can get this, then that would be fine. So a little paint holder, paintbrush holder here, so you fold it all out and you can rest your paints in there, paintbrushes. And then we got a range of very nice paintbrushes. Now, I'm a bit of a Philistine when it comes to my paintbrushes because I ought to have a nice set and I don't. And it's a crime, really. I should have a nice set of brushes, but I do now. Look at those. Absolutely beautiful. Again, Mr. Hobby brand, and they look really, really nice. The shape on those tips is superb. So they're going to be really, really nice to use, I'm sure. And then we have this. Now this is an awesome product. This is super, super fine sandpaper. So this is 1000, 2000 and 3000. You'll have seen in my videos that I use this a lot. I use the 3200 just because it's the one that comes to hand. And this has got 2400 and 4000. Now that sounds extreme, but trust me, 4000 grit isn't actually as fine as you might think. When you're talking about model cars, the detail is so fine that 4000 grit paper will actually remove paint quicker than you'd think, especially if you're looking for that really high-end finish. But having it is awesome, because if you put deep scratches into your car with around 1000, you'll be surprised. Although 1000 feels quite fine in your hand, or 1500, it actually puts in some quite deep scratches. So this is where the 4000 and the higher grits come in. This is really, really useful stuff to have, because I only have a very limited amount of my 3200 grit anyway. So having this is a really good advantage, and it's wet and dry as well. So they're really, really handy. Now, I've got a whole load of these as well. So I won't say anything about these for a second. I need to show you. No, actually, I'll show you. So these holders here, they actually work in conjunction with these boards. So these are another thing that came in the packet. Now, these are basically just cardboard filaments, and you can hold a driver figure or whatever in there, and then you can put the thing into the cardboard to let it dry. So you've got all these little parts and you don't know what on earth to do with them. So this is a really good solution. This is I've been vaguely aware of these, but I've never had any. And it's nice to know that Luke actually sells them at slot32.de, because I wouldn't know where to buy them anywhere else. So that's what they're for, to hold all your little bits and bobs nice and secure as you paint them. So I've got 4 small ones, and I've got the mother of all of them, this ginormous one here. So that's those. And then we have this box. Now in this box is something that I need to be very, very careful with. Now this is decal softener and decal setter. Now some decals don't like certain softeners and some don't like certain fixers. So I do know that this Mr. Hobby stuff is really, really good stuff. So I need to tread very carefully and do some test patches, but that's what this is. This is obviously a liquid mask. And this one is I don't know. It's a bottle of white stuff, so I'll research that. And here is a bottle for, oh, it's a paintbrush mixer, a paintbrush cleaner. So you put your thinners in there and you can wipe it over the bottom there and rinse out your brush. That's quite a handy little thing to have. So that's quite useful. And no job can start unless you prime it. So here we've got the Mr. Hobby Finishing Surface Primer 1500 in white, nice and fine. This is really good stuff. I use it in the jar, but this is obviously in a rattle can. And we've got a top coat, which will be interesting to use, a gloss top coat. Oh, flat top coat, in fact, which is interesting. We've got another flat top coat, and we've got a semi-gloss, so a satin, that's really useful. And we've got another semi-gloss and another semi-gloss. So there we are. So there's your top coats and a little bit of primer. And then in this box, we've got some primer. So this is 1500 grey, which is again 1500 is very, very fine. We've got the black 1500. We've got some 1000, so that's a little bit coarser. So if you've got some deep scratches, you can whack a bit of this over it and it'll help to fill in the scratches. I got 2 of those. And we have a 1500 black as well and a 1500 grey. So there's plenty of primers there to be getting on with. So there we are. What an awesome gesture from Luke at slot32.de. I'll drink to that. So, if you've enjoyed this sort of content, and there's a lot more to come, maybe you'll subscribe. And if you could hit the little bell button, that would be awesome. So until the next time, from myself and slot32.de, thank you very much.